Today's episode of Parenting Great Kids is brought to you by GoGo squeeZ. Tastiness is the #1 reason kids choose a snack. So providing an option that's both tasty and healthy is a no-brainer. Made entirely of orchard fresh apples and other wholesome fruit, GoGo squeeZ is an all-natural 100% fruit snack with no artificial anything. It comes in a squeezable pouch so kids can enjoy it anytime, anywhere. And with 14 great tasting varieties, just calling it applesauce doesn't even begin to describe it. They even offer fruit and veggies blends like Mighty Mango, made with apple, mango, and butternut squash, or Zippin' Zingin' Pear, made with pears, apples, and carrots. Your kids are sure to love it. So try GoGo squeeZ today. For 30 plus years, I've seen every type of child grow up.
Instead of giving me what I wanted, she gave me what I needed, which was truth.
Don't let emotions win. Let truth win.
Do your very best, and you should have a lot of fun while you do it. And the better you get at something, the more fun you're going to have at something.
You moms and dads are wired with everything you need to be a parent to a great kid.
Hey, Meg Meeker, Dave Ramsey here. Congratulations on 1 million downloads on the podcast. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of impact. I don't know how many people are impacted per download, but boy, I'm telling you, that's impressive. Congratulations, America's mom, Meg Meeker.
Dave, thank you so much for being such a good friend and supporter. You are my very first guest, and I so appreciate you being in my corner. And friends, I want to take a moment and thank you, my faithful audience, for listening to Parenting Great Kids. For each of you who have downloaded, subscribed, rated, reviewed, or shared with friends, you have made this one of the #1 parenting podcasts, and we have just hit 1 million downloads. I love having the opportunity to encourage you as you parent your kids, and I look forward to many more episodes. And please, if there's a topic you want me to discuss, let me know. This podcast is for you. So tell me what you want to hear about, or if you have a guest you'd like me to interview. Here's to helping each and every one of you raise extraordinary kids, and here's to the next 1 million downloads. Welcome to Parenting Great Kids. This is episode number 33, Goodbye Perfect, a great show for moms. I'm your host, Dr. Meg Meeker, and on today's episode, I will be talking with my wonderful friend, Crystal Paine, who many of you may know as the money-saving mom. Crystal is a successful blogger, author, wife, and mother of 3, and has a lot to share about more than just money, about how we can change our lives, be kinder to ourselves, and how learning to be content really leads to success in life. Also in this episode, I'll be answering a question from a mom struggling with how to have boundaries with grandparents. As always, I'll share my points to ponder for you to start using right away. And parents, as a reminder, please don't just download the episodes, click subscribe, because when you do that, you're joining my parenting revolution, and every new episode will automatically show up in your subscribed list. You won't regret it. And we'd love for you to write us a review on iTunes and let us know what you think. Also, not only are we on iTunes, but the Parenting Great Kids podcast is also now available in the Google Play Store and on Stitcher. So no matter where you get your podcasts, subscribe today and don't miss a single episode. So parents, thanks for listening. This is episode number 33. Stay with us. So now let's move on to my points to ponder. First, confront the lies in your head. Every mother I know lives with a lot of tapes going round and round in her mind that tell her and try to convince her she's not good enough at something. And you know, moms, all of our tapes are different, but in many ways they're very much the same because they're lies. They're telling us what we're not good at. They're telling us where we need to improve. They're telling us that if we only do more of something, then life will get better, we will be content, and our families will be happier. And we know that those are lies. I loved what Crystal said about confronting the very specific feelings and the lies in her head and even writing them down on paper. If you feel that you're a bad mom because you don't cook enough, or you're the bad mom because you're not with your kids enough, or you're a bad mom because you're not disciplined with your money, write it down. This really is war, because these lies pound us into the ground and take us down. And one of the most freeing things that we as mothers can do is knock those lies out. And then, as she was talking about, replace them with truth. Maybe you're not good with managing your money, but you will become good at managing your money. Maybe you do spend time away from your kids, but the truth is you can still be a really good mom who's very present with her kids. So replace the lie with a positive truth. And as Crystal said, this took her years to do, but I can tell you, friends, sitting across from her and watching her talk, she's living what she has done. It has worked. I can see it all over her face. She is a content person. Who do you know who could walk away from a very successful business for an entire year and say, I need to rethink life. I don't know what is happening, but I'm not happy doing what I'm doing because life is sort of out of control. The second point to ponder, and you'll hear Crystal talk about this, stop the comparisons. Stop the comparisons. And it's extremely important for mothers. I will tell you, as a pediatrician, I listen to mothers a lot, and I watch mothers say what they should be doing and struggling with, I should do this and I should do this, and what if I don't do this? I'll be a bad mom if I don't breastfeed my child exclusively for an entire year. I will be a bad mom if I don't teach my kids, how to play the trombone, or I'll be a bad mom if I'm not really good at setting a bedtime. We've got to stop the comparison, because the truth of the matter is we're always looking around at our friends, or we're always looking at strangers we don't even know who are writing on the internet. Many times the things that they're writing are not true, and yet we're listening to those voices of strangers, and it's bringing us down. So stop. Ladies, even if you need to get off the internet for a month, do it. There's so much bad information out there, and information that's making you feel like a worse mom, and it's not building you up, it's tearing you down. I'll tell you why this is very critical to do, and you'll hear Crystal touch down on this too. Mothers need to do this because junior high girls find their value in how many likes they get on Instagram or whatever. And they get their value by comparing themselves to other people. So we need to take charge here, and we need to be successful at stopping the comparison in our own lives so that we can teach our daughters how to do that. And third, live authentically. You'll hear Crystal talk about her journey from, starting to blog and failing, and then going through this transformation where her business was taking off. And then she said, I hate my life. I'm not living authentically. I'm not living the life that I want for me and for my family. And so it's really, no matter what your work is, and if you're a full-time mom or you work outside the home, it's very important to allow full expression of who you are at home and in your workplace. Don't put on airs for anybody. Don't pretend to be somebody you're not, because that will never make you or your family happy. So living authentically is very, very important. And I think that my conversation with Crystal Paine brings this out beautifully, because she will talk about, living as an authentic mother, living as an authentic wife, and living as an authentic business person.
Friends, it's finally here. My new book, Hero, Being the Strong Father Your Children Need, is now available for purchase. You've heard me talking about it for a while, and I'm so happy to tell you that you can get your copy now at HeroDadBook.com. Dads, whether you know it or not, you are the center of your child's life, and that's exactly what this book is all about. Moms, this is a great book for your husbands, and husbands, this is a great book for you. Hero is a book for all dads, whether they're married, divorced, widowed, or stepdads. All that matters is understanding that your children need and want you. And if you want what is best for you and your children, then you need this book. When you visit HeroDadBook.com, You'll also find a variety of hero gift bundles, some with a coffee mug, a journal, and even a hero t-shirt. We created these special gifts to serve as reminders for you, Dad, to choose to be the hero in your child's life every day. And they also make great Father's Day gifts or birthday gifts. Visit HeroDadBook.com to learn more and order your copy today. I'd like you to listen in on a wonderful conversation that I had with Crystal Paine. You're going to love what she has to say. We have a fabulous show today, so all you mothers out there and some of you frugal dads, you need to pay attention to my next guest. She's Crystal Paine, and she has MoneySavingMom.com that she started in 2006, and she has now over 2 million readers per month. Crystal, thanks.
I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, we could make 3 shows out of this. I tell you, we could just go. You've really lived an extraordinary life. You're one of 7 kids.
Yes.
You were homeschooled in Kansas, and you did a lot of the shopping and the buying for your family. Is that right?
Yeah. So part of our home ec, my mom wanted to make sure that we knew how to live in the real world. So she had me for 2 years do all the menu planning, the grocery shopping, and the cooking for our family of 9.
How old were you?
I think I was 14 or 15 at that point.
Listen to that, parents. A lot of times I'm telling you got to give your kids chores. Crystal's lived it. So it's very important. And that part of your life really sort of set you up for what you're doing now, which is you have a very successful online business that you and your husband run. And you enjoy it. But we were talking about mothers and motherhood, and you have 3 kids. And can you tell their ages?
Yes, they are 12, 9, and 7.
So you're really right in the throes of some pretty intense time with your kids.
Yes.
And you went through a period where your work was kind of getting out of control, and you said, wait a minute, I got to reorganize my life. So you taught people how to organize their money and how to save money, and then you had to reorganize your life. What was that year like for you?
Yeah, so in the middle of 2015, I had been running the business since 2000. I started blogging in 2005, end of 2004. And so a long time, and a lot of things had happened, and it just felt like things were just really blowing up in a good way, but it was getting out of control, and I was stretched too thin. And so I just got to a place where I said, I'm going to declare 2016 the year of rest.
Wow.
And I put it out there because I knew that if I needed the public accountability. So I put it out there to the internet, said 2016 is going to be my year of rest, and I'm going to say no to pretty much everything.
Wow. And you did this when your business is you have a very successful business. It was really taking off.
It was kind of, my 3rd book had just come out. We had product lines coming out with multiple companies, and I was getting a lot of media opportunities, and it was this place where it felt like it's just mushrooming, but it was, for me, there was no joy in it anymore.
You didn't like your life.
I didn't love my life, and I want to love my life.
Yeah, which is really important for our listeners to hear, because looking at you, a lot of women your age, would go, wow. She's living the dream. She's on airplanes. She's on Today Show. She's doing this. She's making a lot of money. And yet you said, I don't like my life. So you backed off. You shrank your team. And now it's you and your husband. You have a team again. How did that affect your relationship with your kids, that year off? Yes, it was amazing because my kids, I got for my birthday in October of the year of rest. So we'd gone quite a bit through the year of rest. My girls wrote me notes, and they said, Mom, we are so glad you're not on the computer anymore. And I thought, if that is the only thing that I got out of this year of rest, that is every bit worth it. But it changed my life because I realized that I was chasing after more and more and more. And our culture says that more is a good thing, and more can be a good thing. But when is enough enough? And I had to just really say, okay, when is enough enough? And if where I am right now is where I am for the rest of my life, would I be content with where I am? And so asking myself that question and realizing that my worth is not in my work. My worth is really in my identity in Christ, and resting in that, and not finding all of this joy in my productivity and what I crossed off my to-do list, but just giving myself the space to actually be. I love Shauna Nyquist. She has this book called Present Over Perfect. And I love that phrase, and that's how I want to live my life. I want to be present, not perfect. And that's such an important message for mothers because it's so hard. I also want to tell our listeners, at the time you took the rest, your business was supporting your family.
Yes. And we had a team, and it was supporting other people too.
Yes. But that's so profound because I think a lot of mothers out there feel so much pressure, not just to be the perfect mom, but to do everything right. And particularly if they're working mother outside the home. I mean, all moms are working. Some are paid and some are not. I don't like that term, working mother. What do you mean? That's an oxymoron. But can you talk a little bit about the pressure that women your age feel? Because I didn't feel this as much when I was raising my kids. That the pressure that mothers feel to do more, be more for their kids.
I think the pressure is overwhelming, and I think it's because of social media. And unfortunately, there are so many voices out there that are telling you what you need to feed your children, and they're conflicting voices, because one day you'll read that you need to feed your kids more carrots, and the next day you're going to read that carrots are going to cause cancer.
Right, exactly.
I mean, every single day it's something new, and from the air that they breathe to the water that they drink to the food that they eat to the activities that they're involved in. It's overwhelming as moms, because you feel like one thing is telling you need to do more, and the other thing is telling you need to step back and you need to play with your kids more, and then you need to have them in more activities. And it's just overwhelming for women.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. You know, when you live in your head, because you read something and mothers like you open your laptop in the morning, you check your email, and then you just start moving all around. You know, moving to your site or, other places. But you're absolutely right. And I think that mothers just totally get overwhelmed. How does Crystal Paine combat that?
Well, I had to learn a few years ago that I had to be okay with disappointing people. And that there are a lot of people that I'm going to disappoint. Who are the few people in life that I am unwilling to disappoint? And that was my God, my husband, and my kids.
Wow.
And to realize that every decision that I make, especially because I am kind of in this public place where if I put out anything, my kids, people all the time are criticizing, what my child has on, or some decision that I'm making, or what my kid is eating, or whatever. There's a lot of comments and emails that are coming in that are telling me I need to do this or I need to do that.
Do you read them?
I do read some of them because I want to. It's important for me to know what people are saying. But I used to really feel kind of defensive, or like I needed to change my life about it. But recognizing that, no, if these people don't know my family personally, if they are not involved in our everyday personal lives, they are not the people that need to be speaking into my life.
Right.
And so I can let that go.
Yeah.
And so when I read something on the internet that says you need to do more of this, or someone leaves a comment on my Facebook page saying, I can't believe that you would allow your daughter to do X, Y, and Z, or they email in or send a letter in the mail, we even get those, that it's like, just to realize that I am not responsible for what they think of me. It's okay if I disappoint them. But I remember one time not too long ago, I think it was an email, and it was a scathing email, and I was upset because the person was saying, you're a terrible mom. And I was starting to feel like...
Did they know you?
No, they didn't know me. But, sometimes when you're...
It doesn't matter. It's an emotional thing. Because there's a tiny little voice in you goes, you know what, Crystal? You really might be a bad mom. And then some jerky stranger comes along and says it, and that little voice goes, yep, you see?
You're a terrible mom, and everybody can see this. And I brought the email to my husband. That's one thing that I've done, that I've learned to do. You bring it to other people who know you well. And so I brought the email to my husband. I said, can you read this and see if there's any truth in this? And
you're brave.
He read it, and he said, just a second. And he got all of our kids. He lined them up. He sat them down on the couch, and he said, I want to read to you what someone said about your mom. And I want you to tell me if there's any truth in this.
Oh.
And so he read, and they all were like, that is terrible. That is not true. That person doesn't know you. And they just went, and then they went and they affirmed me as a mom. And I think sometimes we forget that to our kids, we're a superwoman.
Yeah.
And they see us as this amazing person, and we can fall so short according to our standards, and we can fail them. We can get angry with them. We can get upset with them. We can do things that, are hurtful to them, and, say words to them that can hurt them. But when we go and apologize, they forgive us.
Exactly.
And they move on.
Well, and we have to remember they need us. and they need our love. So they're stuck to us, and sometimes that drives them crazy, but they come back and they come back and they come back because they need the love and they need the affirmation. So what a wonderful thing that your husband did for you. So you get a lot of public criticism, but there are some moms out there who aren't in the public, and you're very much in the public. And so, you're under their scrutiny, but there's so many moms that just feel at the end of the day, they go to bed and go, you know what, I just messed up, or I didn't this, or I didn't this. I fed my kids carrots and it's one of the dirty dozen, or what. I don't even know if it is, but you know what I mean? It wasn't organic, and they just feel like they're always falling short. So how do we help all the women who are listening feel good enough about being a good mom? Because a lot of women feel they need to go outside the home to either earn some money, or they need to have a job, or they need to be able to dress a certain way, or they need their kids to be at a certain school in order to be a good mom. But we know that's not true. Being a good mom is about having great relationships with your kids and having kids who want to be with you. I said you're a successful parent when your kid is 25, and then when they're 26, they want to be with you. You've won. And so how do we help mothers sort of give themselves a break?
With me, because a lot of my decisions are out there in the public and you get that criticism, people think, oh, that would be so hard. But I think for so many women, they are their own worst critic. They don't need people on the internet telling them they're not doing a good enough job, because they are beating themselves up in their head. And I know because I do it too. And I think it's like you get in bed at night, and then that's when you review everything that you have done wrong all day long. Yeah. And I have just really had to have people in my life who I can go to when I have those moments of feeling like I'm failing as a mom, and going to them. My husband, just earlier this week, I was having a day, and I was sitting on the couch, and he was sitting next to me, and I was just saying, I just feel like I'm just chasing my tail all day long today, and I just feel like I've been so unproductive, and I'm just not focused. And he looked at me and he goes, you know what? You're allowed to have a bad day every once in a while.
Wow.
And I thought that was really profound. He said, you've had so many good days for weeks. You can have a bad day. And I thought,
thank you.
Yes. I don't give myself permission, though. We don't give ourselves permission. So having people in my life who I can be honest with, for me, it's my husband, of that I can go to him when I'm feeling like that, and he's not going to belittle me or put me down. He is going to build me up and encourage me. So finding that person in your life, if you can, who, when you're feeling like the voices in your head are screaming so loud and it's just causing you to feel like you're a failure, to go to someone else and say, this is what I'm feeling. Can you speak truth to me in this?
Right. And you don't have to necessarily give a letter to your kids and go, am I an okay mom? That was bold. I'm telling you, you're very brave. But you're a very brave woman. I mean, you took a year off of work when your business was booming, and you asked your kids if you're doing a good job. It was interesting. When I traveled, I didn't travel much when my kids were at home, but I would tell them, I said, you have permission. You need to tell me if I'm gone too much. And they would. And I would listen to them, and I'd say, okay, I'm going to be home more. But even, for single moms out there who may not have, a spouse or have a healthy relationship with a spouse, they could still find a friend. Yes. I mean, they could find a girlfriend and say, and literally say, these are the thoughts that are going through my head. You're absolutely right. It's self-contempt. You're not good enough at this. You don't cook well enough. You're never home enough. You're not making enough money. That's that more thing. You're always falling short. You need to do more and be more, to your kids, but maybe even to say those out loud to your friend, or say those out loud to your husband. It's we're constantly needing to undo all those ugly tapes, and unfortunately, I think our minds are our biggest enemy, but we feed it because we go on the internet and we read a lot of bad stuff.
I think we also make up stories. I think we make up a lot of stories in our head we will look at one picture on Instagram of this beautiful plate that someone has made, this beautiful dessert. And we see that plate with that dessert, and we get this picture in our head of, oh my goodness, this mom, she makes every single one of her meals from scratch every single day. She presents it in this beautiful manner. And she has I'm sure a beautiful kitchen and a beautiful home, and her life is just all in order. What's wrong with me?
Yeah.
And the truth is that so many times that will be one little tiny snippet of someone's kitchen, and they may have shoved all the dirty dishes and everything out. They're just sitting on the side so that they can take this beautiful picture. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there's something wrong when we make up this whole big story in our head of who someone is based upon one little picture we see on the internet.
You're so right. And I think that we mothers need to get control of it, because that's exactly what happens to pre-adolescent and adolescent girls. They put pictures of themselves, and they determine their worth by how many likes they get. It's very sad. So if you as a mom can't get control of the fact that, your worth and your value and how good of a mom you are is not determined by all the voices out there and the perfect pieces of pie that you see, or the perfect dresses, or whatever it is, then you can't teach it to your daughter. And daughters need to do that. One of the coolest images I saw was many, many years ago in Oprah magazine. You know how she's on the cover of all of them, and she looks beautiful and everything. But she did a before and after shot. I mean, she had the courage to say, this is what I look like when I come in for work. And then this is what I look like after all the makeup artists have gotten hold of me. And they didn't look like the same person. And I thought, good for you, because that's who we all are, is picture A. And a lot of time, people I work with say, take a snapshot of what you're doing, working your garden. I'm like, no, I don't know, my hair is bad. But you know what? You got to do it, because that's real life. And we've got to teach people to live in real life. And women just are not kind to themselves. And I think that, being with a friend who can sort of talk to you and teach you to be kind to yourself. Parents, I hope you're enjoying my conversation with Crystal Paine. We need to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. BARKBOX is a monthly delivery of all natural treats and super fun toys curated to meet your dog's unique needs, including allergies and chew preferences. It's a great way to try a variety of USA Canada-made treats and unique toys from local and small businesses that you may not otherwise be able to find. Plus, each box is centered around a different theme, like country fair, bark ball, Pooh York City, or Brooklyn hipster, to keep dogs engaged, interested, and happy. And when your dog falls in love with something from the box, you can easily find it again on barkshop.com, the BARKBOX app, or by texting BARKBOX. For dogs, it's like the joy of a million belly scratches. But if for some reason your dog doesn't like something in the box, BARKBOX will send you something they will love for free, because they're all about dog happiness. Better yet, every BARKBOX ships free within the continental U.S. Friends, I love BARKBOX because I have a dog and feel really good about giving him all natural treats, and the toys really are fun. Visit BARKBOX.com/parenting and get a free extra month of BARKBOX when you subscribe to a 6 or 12-month plan. That's BARKBOX.com/parenting for an extra month free. Ladies, stop tugging at your bra straps and second-guessing your size. It's time to put fit first with THIRDLOVE. THIRDLOVE uses women's real measurements and super smoothing memory foam to create bras that fit better and are more comfortable. They offer sizes from AA to G, as well as their exclusive half cup sizes. Just answer a few simple questions online, and THIRDLOVE will recommend a bra in the right size and style for you. And now, THIRDLOVE is offering you a chance to try one of their perfect 24/7 bras free for 30 days. Just pay $2.99 for shipping, and you're on your way to a perfect fit. You'll get to really live in this bra. Feel free to wash it, wear it all day. You might even forget you're wearing it. If THIRDLOVE isn't your new favorite bra, just return or exchange it for free. Go to thirdlove.com/Meg now to get your perfect THIRDLOVE bra and try it for 30 days. That's thirdlove.com/Meg to try your new favorite bra for free. thirdlove.com/Meg. I deal with a number of young gals with eating disorders. And one of the things that really kind of shakes them when they first come in to see me is I start talking to them like I'm their brain. Mm. And I'll say, what is your mind telling you? What are the beliefs going through your head? And they go, I don't know. And I go, you're fat, aren't you? And if you don't study hard, you're going to get an A-, and that's not okay. And everybody thinks you're ugly, don't you? And they get kind of mad at me. And I said, but that's what's in your brain every second of every day, right? So we need to untrain those thoughts. And I think that mothers need to do that too, because we've got to stop the whole comparison thing.
Yeah, and I think calling it as a lie. Yeah. So my daughter, she was 8 at the time, and she's my fashionista, and she always likes to have her hair done all pretty, and she had lost a tooth, and it was one of her front teeth, and she was very self-conscious, and she said, I look ugly. I am so ugly. And she started, going on this rant about how she was so ugly, and I looked at her and I said, that's a lie. Said, you're allowed in this house to say I feel a certain way, but you cannot say I am ugly, because that's not the truth.
That's beautiful.
And so we started talking about there's a difference. I said, if you are feeling ugly, I want you to come and talk to me about it, because we'll talk about it, and we can talk about why do you feel that way, and we can have that conversation. But I don't ever want you to look and say I am ugly, because that is not true.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's untraining those voices in my head. And what I had to do is, because for years of my life, I felt very much like I was a failure. Growing up, I was very shy. I was very insecure, and I always felt like I wasn't enough because I struggled in school. I struggled to make friends. I just felt like I was always falling short in every area, and I can never live up to my older sister, who was just this amazing sort of person.
Do you think you heard that? Or do you think you just felt that?
I think I just felt it, but I turned it into I am a failure. I am not enough. I am someone who no one would want to be a friend to. And I told myself all those lies, and then I lived under those lies. And so when I started living under those lies, then you go into situations and you're telling yourself, I don't belong here. I'm not good enough. No one likes me. And so then you live out of that. And when you're this insecure sort of person believing that, whatever someone says, even if they're saying the nicest thing to you, you're telling yourself in your head, that's not true. They don't really mean that.
It bounces off because you're in this little cage. At what point in your life did you realize, oh my gosh, I'm living under this weight? And it's just, I can just have this visual of you just sort of being pushed down into the ground. What happened in your life where you realized, wait a minute, I don't have to live like that?
There were a couple of different moments that were really pivotal for me, but I felt like it was just this beautiful picture of God as my Heavenly Father saying to me, I think you're beautiful. I was sitting in this concert, and there was this song that someone was singing, and it was When Daddy Says I'm Beautiful. And she was talking about how, maybe you don't believe this because you've never heard this before, but I need you to know that God thinks you're beautiful. And as she was saying this up there, I'm going, God doesn't think I'm beautiful. And I realized, I just started weeping because I realized how all my life I had told myself these lies about myself. And so I made this commitment after that I was going to start calling out the lies. And it took 2 years of me calling out the lies.
How old were you?
I was 25, I think, at this point. And so I just recognized the self-realization of the lies. That just had to start with that, of when I would say, I'm not good enough, or no one likes me, or I will never measure up to what other people are doing. And to just start with the step of calling it a lie, just saying that's a lie. And then I replaced the lies with a truth. Then I came up with a couple of truths that I would say, no, God thinks I'm beautiful. I am enough. And I just came up with these truths that I would say to replace the lies with that truth. And it took me a full 2 years.
That's cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yes.
That you were doing on yourself.
I didn't know, but I just, And when I started, the more that I did that, the more that I started to think, wow, maybe I do have gifts and skills and talents. Maybe someone would want to be my friend. Maybe there is something that I bring to the table. And this journey for me was part of blogging. For me was this journey, and then speaking and standing on stages. I feel like it was all part of my healing, because sometimes you have to actually apply the truth in such a practical way for it to really sink into you. And so for me, just to get to the place where I can actually go in a situation and not feel like I'm a failure, or go stand on a stage and speak and know that not everybody who hears me is probably going to like what I have to say or like me as a person, but that's okay. It doesn't change who I am when I get off that stage.
Exactly.
And so that's been a really powerful journey for me. And I have just been really listening to what I'm saying to myself in front of my girls, because I think that we influence so much of our daughters, how they're going to think about themselves as well. And I want them to not look in the mirror and think, I'm so fat, or I need to lose 5 pounds, or whatever. I don't, no one likes me or whatever. So I pay attention to what am I saying? Am I beating myself up around them?
Because your kids are sponges and they're going to pick up on it all the time. And, a lot of parents will say, how do I combat obesity in my kids? And I said, quit talking about the 10 or 15 pounds you need to lose. They're sick of hearing about it. And they look at you and go, I think you're fine, Mom. But then they're realizing, wait a minute, what do you think of me? And so it's a lot of that. The way we speak out loud to ourselves and the way we speak to ourselves internally, it really affects our kids and their self-confidence and their self-esteem. But I love that you took the negative things that were sort of pounding you down, and over a period of several years, you sort of knocked them down and you replaced them with positive. And I love that. But then you have to live it.
Yes.
If you're telling yourself you're smart enough to have a business, a successful business, you have to start acting like you are. And I find that's where a lot of women are like, whoa, okay, but no. Live it. What do you have to lose? And you were telling me that before Money Making Mom took off, you had a lot of other blogs that didn't do so well.
Yes, I have a lot. I always say that Money Saving Mom, it was built on a pile of failures.
But isn't that true for all of us?
Yes.
If we could show everybody all the ways we messed up and all the things we tried that went down. That's what I love about Dave Ramsey. I mean, I talk with him and he'll tell me he went bankrupt. He went bankrupt and he talks about it openly, and it's like you just keep on going, and then to have the courage then later on to take a year off is amazing. I do want to talk to our listeners about what you do, and this has been amazing. I mean, you've given moms so much encouragement, which is a lot of what you do. I mean, you don't just write about how to save money, but that's how you started out, right? So do you sort of feel like a psychologist now? Because you've listened to so many mothers.
And when I started Money Saving Mom, I really was just thinking, I'm going to just focus on very practical ways to help women save money. And the thing is, I realized that you have to go deeper than that, because people can't change their financial behaviors until they change what's in their heart, and until they change other behaviors as well. And so about 2 years after I started Money Saving Mom, I started blogging on a lot of other topics of getting your home and life in order. I've talked a lot about the lies and the truth, because I feel like so many women are paralyzed by doubt. They are paralyzed by fear. They're paralyzed by insecurity. And that's keeping them from, until they can get healed on the inside, they're never going to be able to get their finances in order.
Because money means a lot. Money can sort of cover over those ugly feelings. If you can get a job and you can make some money, well, all of those horrible feelings that I feel about myself are kind of dulled for a little bit, because money can be the answer, or the stuff I can buy with money can be the answer, but it isn't.
Right. Well, they feel like it will be.
But you feel like it is. You feel like it is. And I remember Oprah again. And I don't watch Oprah. I really don't. But there were a couple moments that were really profound, and I was just sort of there. She said, I know that you all look at me and you want the money and the houses that I have, but I'm telling you, it doesn't deliver. And you could almost hear the audience go, oh yeah, right. But she knows. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Until you sort of dive deeper and you deal with your inner self and your inner world and your mind, being successful in other places and making money is not going to do it. And you almost have to just live that in order to believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think of back whenever my husband and I were first married, and we were living in this little basement apartment, and he was going through law school, and we were so poor at that point because we were committed to stay out of debt. And I look back in those days when we had basically nothing and see that we were content. And now, our financial situation has changed a lot, but the principles that we learned back then of just realizing that money does not buy your happiness. And I know everybody says that, but I can see how It's truly, contentment is a state of the heart, and it's not affected by your outward circumstances. It's really something that's inner.
And a lot of contentment comes from self-acceptance, just accepting. You told me something that I'm intrigued by. You at one time lived on $30 a week, your grocery.
Yes.
And that blew me away because I'm too embarrassed to tell you what my grocery bill is, and I live alone with my husband in the house. Because I love to cook and I love to buy good food, and I know I spend too much. How did you do that?
Well, first off, are you like beating yourself up for spending too much?
No, I'm just trying to make more money to buy more good food. Yeah, no, but it's right. It's convicting because the thing is, I'm a very disciplined person. I can be very disciplined, but in the area of money, and I like myself pretty well. You know, I'm okay. But in the area of money, I haven't paid enough attention. And so I'm convicted sitting there and like, wow. So that's pretty cool. So I could do that. I could rein it in and get things in order. I hope Dave Ramsey doesn't listen to this because he would be so aghast. Are you kidding me? You know, let me tell you about the baby steps and all. But how did you live on a grocery budget of $30 a week?
Well, I've learned that when there's a will, there's often a way. You just have to be really creative and make a lot of sacrifices. And so that's what it was for us. And we had set this audacious goal for my husband to go through law school and for us to stay out of debt. And so I had said, I can keep the grocery budget low. I know that's something that I can do because my mom trained me on how to use coupons and how to menu plan. And so I was really, really motivated by that. And so then I thought, I want to take this to the next level. So then I learned all these different ways of being able to get products for free and being able to play the drugstore game and being able to get rebates and stack rebates with coupons and then being able to get overage and getting paid to buy groceries.
So you're speaking a language I don't know. Yeah, drugstore games. Okay, yeah, this is cool. I've got a lot to learn from you. But your mom really set you up for that, didn't she?
Yes, and I feel like I have such an amazing foundation that a lot of people don't have. So you can't compare yourself to me and feel like I should be able to do what she does because I went into marriage with the years of experience. And so I always tell people, just start simple. Start with one simple little thing. And so many people want to overhaul their grocery budget overnight. And that's just a recipe for disaster and exhaustion. So I always say, start with 1 to 3% every month. It's not cool. It's not exciting. It's not going to put you on extreme couponing. But if you stick with shaving off 1 to 3% every single month and you shave another 1 to 3% and another 1 to 3% over time, that's a lot of money shaved off your grocery bill.
You're absolutely right, because I know that many people can feel so out of control with their money and so overwhelmed. It's like, I don't even know where to start. I don't know what to do. And they feel like I got to just go get another job. But we know that you build wealth not by accumulating more money, but by cutting expenses and saving. And that's really, really cool. Well, Crystal, I could talk to you for about 2 more hours, but we can't. But this has been so much fun. My guest has been Crystal Paine, and her amazing website is moneysavingmom.com. You're going to learn how to not just save money and play the drugstore game, which I need to read about, but you're going to learn so much more about life. So thank you so much for just being open enough to tell us what you do and why you do it. And I love your boldness. I just hope if anybody takes anything away from our podcast, it's be bold and go live in what you believe is right, because it does work. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here.
All right, friends, let's get social. I want to hear from you, and I want to interact with you. And anybody who's listened to my podcast once or twice, you know that. I like to hear what your struggles are so that I can come in and give any encouragement that I can. You can always connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at MegMeekerMD. Or if you have a question, send it to askmeg@megmeekermd.com. That's askmeg@megmeekermd.com. Today I have a question from Diane, who writes, Dear Dr. Meg, last Christmas, my mother-in-law gave our son, who was 18 months old at the time, around 28 Christmas gifts. We talked to her a while afterward to explain that we would like Christmas to be about Christ more than a multitude of gifts, and that we don't want our children to be spoiled, etc. She seemed to understand and agree. This Christmas, she gave our son, who is now 2, more than 20 gifts, and our 11-month-old daughter between 15 and 20 gifts. So it appears that she just did not get the spirit of what we were talking about. Aside from the fact that I feel she violated our boundaries, we live in a 650 square foot New York City apartment, and I end up having to return over half the gifts. I know my husband feels very awkward given that his mom's love language is clearly giving gifts. And we know that she loves our grandkids, but we're on the same page about not wanting our children to be spoiled or feel Christmas is just about presents. We feel we now need to give her a gift limit. How would you recommend we approach this? And how can we actually follow through on whatever conversation we have, given that our previous conversation led to no substantial changes? Well, This is not an unusual predicament, Diane, because the truth is many grandmothers love people by giving gifts and by feeding them food and making dinners for them. But it is very important first. I hope your mother-in-law is listening to the podcast because I'm a grandmother. It's first very important that grandparents understand that these are not our children. So we really don't have the right to do what we want. We always should go through the parents. We need to ask the permission from parents. When we want to give gifts, what should we give? Now, it doesn't need to go to extreme, but we really need to ask permission from parents when we want to give something or do something with their children. But it's hard because his mom probably did a lot of this with your husband when she was growing up. This is how I would encourage you to handle this, Diane. I would go to your mother-in-law and I would start with the easy conversation. I would say something like this: Mom, I so appreciate that you love our kids so much, and I know that you show your love by giving a lot of gifts, and I really appreciate that about you. You have a heart that won't stop. But here's our problem. We live in a teeny tiny apartment and we can't fit a lot of stuff in there. So how about you and I work together to come up with 1 or 2 really good ideas that you could give our kids that would be very special and very meaningful for them? Would you work together with me in coming up with something? You go out and you figure out what you would like to give, and then I'll say, if that will work in our apartment. That way, you're not snubbing your mother. You're still allowing her to love your kids by giving a gift, but you're really reining it in. And second, I would say, because you don't want to sound like you're on your religious high horse and say, we know how to really celebrate Christmas, you don't. And we're not materialistic and you are. You never want to communicate that. So you say, and also, we'd really like you to help us teach our kids that Christmas is more than just gifts. And I know you know that, but I would love to work with you in creative ways that we can express that to our kids. In other words, talk to your mother-in-law as though she already knows that Christmas is about more than gifts, because she does know. Now, maybe she doesn't honor it the way you do, but I have found if you want somebody on your team, talk to them as though they already are on your team and they're not the enemy. You don't get into this tug and pull. Like I need to teach you that Christmas is really about Jesus and you don't know this. She does know that. So bring her on board. And I think that you're going to find there's going to be a real transformation in the way she gives gifts to your kids. And hopefully it's going to improve your relationship with her as well. Parents, you can tell I love answering your questions. So please keep sending them in to me. You can email your questions to askmeg@megmeekermd.com. That's askmeg@megmeekermd.com. I want to thank my guest, Crystal Paine, for a wonderful conversation. I hope you learned as much from this as I have, because I certainly have learned a lot. Before I go, I want to recap my 3 points to ponder. First, confront the lies in your head. Write them down if you need to. And second, stop the comparisons. Get off the internet if you need to. And third, live boldly and live authentically. I hope that just the example of listening to how Crystal did it in her own life inspires you to do the same. So until next time, parents, remember always, great kids are raised, not born.
Hey, this is Bobby, producer of Meg Meeker's Parenting Great Kids podcast. We hope you've enjoyed listening to episode 33,
Goodbye Perfect, a great show for moms. And thanks to you, Dr. Meg's Parenting Revolution has grown to over 500,000 downloads. You can like Dr. Meeker on Facebook and follow her on Twitter and Instagram at MegMeekerMD. Just as a reminder, go to MegMeekerMD.com and sign up for her newsletter for giveaway opportunities and updates. And don't forget to share the podcast, write us a review, and click subscribe so you won't miss an episode.